What's kind of coming ahead? You know, our next podcast will be on April 5th. What will have happened by that point, or where will we be at in the project overall, would you say? Like, if you had to take like a measuring stick, where are we at?
Well, at that point, we'll have finished our first focus. We'll have gotten a lot of great feedback and information. And the great thing is now that we have a lot of our main systems working, like our UI, user interface, and the help stuff, and then having all of the level connectivity, then we can really just delve more into the gameplay side of things.
Maybe talk a little bit about that UI. You know, in the past, even in Ratchet Deadlock, we had a pretty heavy UI, and it seems like that from what I've seen, it's very clean and very not simple is the wrong word, but very sleek almost. How would you describe it?
Yeah, it's a little confusing. I actually confuse HUD and UI. We've always called it the HUD, and then we've also called it the user interface. And really, the HUD is the heads-up display, and then the UI is like the menus and the full page screens where you can select options.
All right, I'm referring to HUD then.
Yeah, and the HUD is something that we really want to minimize. We don't want it to be constantly on screen in your face. So we really just try to give you the information that you need when you need it. And then for the most part, we want to keep it full screen and really show off the beauty of HD.
And it's pretty much finished now, right? I mean, the HUD, that is.
Yeah. There's a few other things like, you know, boss health bars and some other stuff that we'll be putting in, but for the most part, it's finished. And it's funny, we always, I think, assume that it's going to be really easy to put in the user interface and the HUD, and we always find that kind of bites us in the butt towards the end. And so now that we've got a first big iteration on it, it'll be a lot smoother.
Cool.
How do you use iteration throughout the entire process? I saw a talk at GDC that was given by Cliffy B, and I believe it was titled like "Iteration is King" or something like that, making Gears of War.
Yeah, there's also been talk of agile development, which I've heard a little bit about, read a little bit about it. But you know, with any creative process, it all comes down to iteration. I mean, you even look at someone who's mixing music or, you know, painting or drawing. You know, they will do something, look at it, rework something, and things often get reworked several times before they become final. And you can't just assume that, oh yeah, the first pass, you know, when I create this feature in the first 2 weeks, it'll be done. That's it. You definitely have to come back to it, and based on the feedback that we get from players and from other people in the studio, you know, you have to make those changes. So I think when you plan for iteration, that makes the process a lot smoother, and you're being more realistic about how it works.
You know, actually, before we move on too much, we actually failed to cover, and this is my bad, a couple other fun things that happened around the office that I wanted to cover off on, because I think they're really cool and funny, and we'll actually have them on our website. Actually, one thing that we're going to be doing is you'll be able to go to the podcast page on our website, and we're going to have pictures that correspond to some of the things we're talking about, as well as audio files. And we recently had a company meeting, which we do every few months just to catch everybody up on our various projects and things going on in the company. And at the end of it, our audio team wanted to use the opportunity to gather everybody to make cheering noises as it will relate to Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction. You'll be able to hear all of our cheering skills on our website, and there's some pretty funny ones in there. And on top of that, actually, and you won't hear this because it'll probably be painful the first few weeks and months, but Insomniac is going to be offering Japanese lessons. Are you guys taking them?
No. I'm too busy playing Ratchet and Clank Future. So
good answer.
Maybe next year.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm like trying to learn Portuguese right now too for vacation.
Those are kind of similar, Portuguese, Japanese.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, they both end in E's.
You know, they're both.
There you go.
Wow.
I know. Deep,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah, very. So yeah, that's gonna probably just confuse me more. But it's a really good opportunity, and it's like another great thing that Insomniac does. I mean, it's basically like bringing in someone to teach us Japanese over our lunch hour.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, it'll be on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I'm going to do it too. And I'm looking forward to being able to talk to Sony Japan with in their language, since they've been kind enough to try to accommodate us. So it should be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it could make a little cool class of people at Insomniac that can speak to each other in Japanese, and everyone else will kind of just be looking at us.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool, and it'll certainly make karaoke night more fun when we go back to Tokyo too. So that's what really matters. It's just for the social reasons, right?
Of course.
That's right.
Alrighty. Anything else you want to add on Ratchet Future before we move on?
I believe we're good. Yeah, that's all I got.
So we should send it over to our mystery guest.
Yep.
Actually,
Oh, maybe not.
I do have something.
Oh, what you got?
Before we go to our mystery guest.
Well, I was looking at the EGM article that's out now, and we can't talk too much about it because we don't give it away, but it just came out on newsstands. Our cover story just came out on newsstands on Monday, and they had suggested that we have some sort of morph weapon that turns enemies into a hippo. So we were thinking of having maybe a little poll here to kind of get what our listeners would like to have, and get some great suggestions from you guys. So if you have any thoughts on what kind of animal you want Ratchet to turn enemies into, let us know, and we can tell you later about some of the suggestions and the possible directions we might go in.
Yeah, email us at podcast@insomniacgames.com. And for those of you who did email us, and there were quite a few, thank you for all those emails. I believe we are caught up and we've responded to everybody except one.
There's a couple folks from the last week with some long emails we haven't quite gotten back to yet, but we will get back to you. If we should, by the time this podcast is out, I imagine we'll be back to pretty much everyone.
So thank you for using that email address, and keep using it. Just put Barnyard Animal in the subject header or something like that, and we'll be able to kind of tally those accordingly.